In all my years working with families, I've seen how silent and invisible the issues of pornography addiction can be with teenagers. It doesn't always show up in obvious ways, but it does show up. And when it does, it can erode a teenager's confidence, relationships, future goals. So let me say first, porn addiction isn't just about a bad habit. When it's addictive, it actually changes how your brain is wired. Every time someone looks at pornography, the brain releases biochemicals in excessive quantities. And over time, the brain starts to crave that rush and needs more and more. Experts like Dr. Don Hilton, Gary Wilson, they explain that this constant overload slowly rewires your brain, making it harder for a person to enjoy normal life experiences and become stuck in the addiction. And it's true, teens naturally have high hormone levels, which can increase curiosity and interest in sex and romantic activity. But addiction goes beyond normal hormone changes. It involves repeated behaviors that hijack the brain's reward system, which then lead to patterns that are difficult to control and harmful over time. So let's walk through possible signs that might suggest there may be a potential addiction developing. But remember, these are just signs. They're not about criticisms or judgment. They're about awareness and compassion. So if you're a teenager and you're watching this video, I want you to listen to some of these signs and ask yourself if maybe using pornography has become a problem for you. So the first one we want to talk about is compulsive use. Maybe they seem unable to stop. Even when it conflicts with their values or causes problems, it goes against personal beliefs, and they do it anyway. Another sign is secrecy. You catch them hiding devices or being overly secretive about their online activity. They work hard to cover up their history or isolate themselves so they can watch it in secrecy. Another sign is the negative impact that's ignored, even when it's clearly affecting mood, schoolwork, relationships. They keep going back to it and ignore negative impact. Tolerance development. This is when they need more extreme or more frequent material to feel satisfied. In other words, what they're watching slowly becomes more intense or more frequent over time. Withdrawal symptoms is another sign. So they try to stop, and then they become irritable, restless, moody. Maybe they have a hard time sleeping. They feel achy, can't focus or concentrate. There can be numerous physical and mental symptoms with withdrawal. Another sign would be simple failed attempts to quit. You promise yourself, they've promised themselves they're going to stop, but then they just can't stick with it. In other words, willpower doesn't seem to be enough. Another sign is time consumption. Large amounts of time during the day are spent looking at it, thinking about it, preparing for it, or recovering from watching it. Sometimes they'll think, anticipate through the day when their next opportunity is going to be, to watch it, to when, where, how they're going to do it. Another sign would be neglecting life. They begin to pull away from friends, family, hobbies. Sometimes they stop engaging activities or friends that used to bring them fun in their life. Another possible sign are risky choices. They may start to seek out dangerous websites or try meeting up with strangers or chatting online. Another possible sign would be mental health. They show signs of depression, anxiety, or low self-esteem. You might notice they seem more impulsive. Maybe they seem to be isolating more. And an often overlooked possible sign would be spiritual issues. Many teens report they simply can't feel the Spirit anymore, or have somehow lost their connection to God. So if your teen has a problem with compulsive or addictive pornography use, try to have patience, have compassion. They might be using porn as a coping mechanism for stress or loneliness or rejection or emotional pain. And I'm not saying that that's an excuse, but it definitely could be a reason. So if these signs resonate with you, don't panic, but don't ignore them either. Early intervention matters. If you're a teenager struggling, ask for help. You can open up safe, non-judgmental conversations, educate yourself, get support, seek guidance from professionals who understand pornography addiction and adolescence. I've dedicated my career to helping individuals and families navigate this terrain and seen hundreds of youth successfully overcome terrible problems with compulsive pornography use. Healing is possible with compassion, insight, and the right support from you.